Hello, I want to share with you a different than usual attitude to death, which was shown to me by an aunt of mine. In my extended family, she was the oldest aunt. She was a simple woman, but a delightful person, always at hand to help and to lift the spirits. Everybody loved her. That is why, when she got cancer and she gathered the whole family around her deathbed, everybody was upset and sad and crying. But she said, "I don't want you to be upset and sad. I don't feel sad and unhappy. I feel satisfied and fulfilled by my life. It wasn't an easy life, but only through my own efforts I have overcome hardships and have many achievements." And she listed her achievements, her work, she raised a family, and so on. I want us to share a similar attitude towards the death of the great, although controversial, figure Christopher Hitchens. Here is an example of his great ideas and his wonderful turn of phrase in which he expressed them. I will read to you a letter he wrote to the Atheist Convention of Americans in April this year. He had lost his speaking voice, so I will read this letter to you. Dear fellow unbelievers, nothing would have kept me from joining you except for the loss of my voice, at least my speaking voice, which is in turn due to a long argument that I am currently having with the spectre of death. Nobody ever wins this argument, though there are some solid points to be made while the discussion goes on. I have found, as the enemy becomes more familiar, that all the special pleading for salvation, redemption, and supernatural deliverance appears even more hollow and artificial to me than it did before. I hope to help defend and pass on the lessons of this for many years to come, but for now I have found my trust better placed in two things: the skill and principle of advanced medical science and the comradeship of innumerable friends and family, all of them immune to the false consolations of religion. It is these forces, among others, which will speed the day when humanity emancipates itself from the mind-forged manacles of servility and superstition. It is our innate solidarity, and not some despotism of the sky, which is the source of our morality and our sense of decency. That essential sense of decency is outraged every day. Our theocratic enemy is in plain view. Protean in form, it extends from the overt menace of nuclear-armed mullahs to the insidious campaigns to have stultifying pseudoscience taught in American schools. But in the past few years there have been heartening signs of a genuine and spontaneous resistance to this sinister nonsense, a resistance which repudiates the rights of bullies and tyrants to make the absurd claim that they have God on their side. To have had a small part in this resistance has been the greatest honor of my lifetime. The pattern and original of all this dictatorship is the surrender of reason to absolutism and the abandonment of critical objective inquiry. The cheap name for this lethal delusion is religion, and we must learn new ways of combating it in the public square, just as we have learned to free ourselves of it in private. Our weapons are the ironic mind against the literal, the open mind against the credulous, the courageous pursuit of truth against the fearful and abject forces who would set limits to investigation and to stupidly claim that we already have all the truth we need. Perhaps above all, we affirm life over the cults of death and human sacrifice, and are afraid not of inevitable death, but rather of a human life that is cramped and distorted by the pathetic need to offer mindless adulation or the dismal belief the laws of nature respond to wailings and incantations. As the heirs of a secular revolution, American atheists have a special responsibility to defend and uphold the Constitution that patrols the boundary between church and state. That, too, is an honor and a privilege. Believe me when I say that I am present with you, even if not corporeally, and only metaphorically in spirit, resolved to build up Mr. Jefferson's wall of separation. And don't keep the faith. Sincerely, Christopher Hitchens. Although there is a rumor about a faith conversion at Christopher Hitchens' deathbed.
I heard Christopher Hitchens had a deathbed conversion. He asked for a priest and converted him to atheism.
This is how Christopher Hitchens looked at the way Christians celebrate Christmas.
It may have struck you, ladies and gentlemen, that there's a big relationship between this marvelous time of year and living in a one-party state. Nothing makes me think more than at this time of year of our humanity's oldest enemy, the authoritarian dictatorship, where you can't go anywhere without listening to the same music, where you can't go anywhere without hearing the name of the great leader and his son, the dear leader, where all broadcasts, all songs, all jokes, all references are, just for that magic few weeks, just exactly like living in fucking North Korea.
And here is a Christmas toast from Christopher Hitchens.
Christmas time is here, by golly, disapproval would be folly. Deck the halls with hunks of holly, fill the cup and don't say when. Kill the turkeys, ducks and chickens, mix the punch, drag out the dickens, even though the prospect sickens. Brother, here we go again. Relations sparing, no expensal, send some useless old utensil, or a matching pen and pencil, just the thing I need.
Here is to you, Professor Hitchens, and to you all. Have a Merry Christmas and a very happy New Year. Cheers!